where we lift up our greatest joys from this week. What has rise as you are willing and able. For prelude, hymn number 361, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In. Welcome. And now I get to say this. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Community Church Unitarian Universalist. I am your minister, Reverend Darcy, and it is such a joy to have you with us here today. Even though I can't see your beautiful, amazing faces, it's wonderful to see some of you in the comments and know that we are gathered together here today and that tomorrow we will be able to share this with our larger community as well. At Community Church Unitarian Universalist, we are a progressive, open-minded, and inclusive religious community. We welcome all who are on a spiritual search for truth and meaning. Ours is a faith in action as we do the work of social justice and elevate compassion in our quest to live ethically, recognizing the inherent worth and dignity of every being. Announcements, and as you can probably tell, worship is going to be a little different today, as is a lot of things in this moment. I'm recording from home. Our music director, Bennett Britt, has been able to send along some recorded choir hymns from a beautiful performance we did several years ago, so you can actually hear some of our fellow CCUers' voices. And our religious education director, Cynthia Ramirez, will be going live on this page after the service to provide our time for all ages and a craft for the week. And some things stay the same. We are still having our 11 a.m. services at CCUU, albeit online. We are still connecting with each other, just in new ways. We are still a strong, compassionate, connected faith community. We are just gathering differently. Speaking of gathering differently, we have some ways to try to keep us connected in this time. In our comments box, please sign up for our CCUU communications if you haven't already, and pass it along. We promise not to overload you with info. I'm sure many of you have already gotten emails about COVID-19 from a business that you once visited 10 years ago. But for us at CCUU, it's a way for us to stay connected, to find ways to help in this time, to find help in this time, and to be together as a church community with pastoral care, worship, and more. Now, a primary pastoral need in this time is to stay connected. Thank you to those who have reached out to help and to those who have reached out for help. If you would like to join our CCUU Pastoral Care Ministry with a number of different roles, please email minister@ccuunola.org. In particular, we're looking for folks who would be interested in being a CCUU buddy, which means that we're all going to check in with each other each week with a few members so that we can all stay connected. You can email that same address, minister@ccuunola.org, by Monday, March 23rd to sign up. Now, while in-person meetings have been canceled, folks are encouraged to try out Zoom to meet virtually or just say hello by video. And again, in the comments box, you can check out Zoom there. Our Religious Education Director, Cynthia Ramirez, has sent our CCUU parents a month's worth of religious education for our Soul Matters curriculum on a very timely topic, resilience. As mentioned, she'll also be doing an art project each week that you can do at home during a lengthened word for all ages in worship after this service. If you have any questions, please email Cynthia at re@ccuunola.org. And this is our constant for a moment in change. We at Community Church will remain flexible, and we will be here. We are Community Church Unitarian Universalist, together. And so with that, let us begin our worship with hymn number 158, Praise the Source of Faith and Learning. Please rise as you are willing and able for hymn number 158, Praise the Source of Faith and Learning. Each week in our worship service, we light our chalice. It is a symbol of our religious tradition, and I have brought a little bit of Community Church UU home with me, and I have our chalice here today. As is our tradition, we often ask one of our youngest members, as a leader in our congregation, to light our chalice. So at this time, I'd like to ask Sebastian Roque Van Young to come forward to light our chalice. Come on up, buddy. Thank you, Sebastian. Woo! There we are. And now in your comments box, you will see the words to our chalice lighting. Please forgive my singing voice, but I'm going to try to sing our chalice lighting, and you can let me sing along if you'd like. We light this flame to affirm the light of truth and knowledge and the warmth of love and community and the fire of hope and commitment. We're all being vulnerable in this time, and that was definitely a moment of vulnerability for me. So I'd like to begin our first reading today from journalist and public intellectual Rebecca Solnit in her essay, The Monument Wars, about memory, the Confederate monuments, and Holocaust memorials. And then there are the stumbling blocks. Stolpersteib literally means a stone you trip over, and it can also mean something you stumble across, as in discover. The German artist Günter Demning has since 1996 laid more than 50,000 small, about 4-inch square bronze plaques in the streets in front of homes from which victims of the Holocaust were taken, including Jews, Jehovah's Witnesses, Roma, homosexuals, and dissidents. Memory is overtaking oblivion, at least in these small interpolations that must jolt people's sense of time and place when they come across one unexpectedly. They are installed in other cities in Germany and beyond, a dispersed project to insist that places must have memories, and we must remember what took place in them. Memory, too, can die, or it can be kept alive. And who is remembered, and how, and who decides? These are deeply political things. The physical spaces we inhabit control the past through statues, names, and representations. We will now listen to a sung reflection from our choir from 2 years ago, Walk Humbly with Your God, by Robert Powell. And who decides? These are deeply political things. The physical spaces we Now is our time in our community for our joys and sorrows. I have our candles also here. I can show you that we light for this time. Now again, I know it is different because we will not be able to share in the same way. But if you would like, what we are going to do is lift up all the joys in isolation, but also with our family and loved ones that have come forward this week. I'm so sorry, we're figuring out audio. And so we lift up the joys that have come this week. Perhaps they are few and far between. Perhaps some of them are unexpected. You can put your joys in our comment box below, and I will light a candle. Of course, this is also a time for us as a community to share our deepest sorrows, knowing that this is also on Facebook, so this is public. But as a community, we can help support each other even from afar by lifting up each other's sorrows, checking in on each other, simply telling each other that we matter and that we as a community will come through this together. So I'm going to light a candle of joy. To be having our worship here today. As different as it may be, we are continuing to come together. In this coming together, I want to light another candle of joy, particularly for all the helpers, those who have reached out this week to try to connect and help. We as a church are helping make that a reality. Of course, I'm lifting up a candle of sorrow for a changed reality. I recognize that this time is unprecedented in our country and our world, and I want to send out love and prayers and hope for all those who are scared or anxious, all those who have lost loved ones, have lost jobs, are uncertain in these times. We light this candle too, knowing that life holds many joys, and life too holds many sorrows. We will now do 1 minute of silence for our time of joys and sorrows. For all our joys, for all our sorrows, for all our community. You may remain seated, which I imagine many of you are at home, for hymn number 173, In the Branches of the Forest. You may remain seated for our meditation hymn number 173, In the Branches of the Forest. right, all. Here's a wonderful joy of us being flexible, which is that my wonderful neighbor and friend, who I will reference in my sermon and who will be very embarrassed that I reference him, is helping us record today, and he handed me his phone so that I could actually read some of our joys and concerns so that I can come back to that. So we're going to remain flexible and make church happen. So I am going to read aloud. I love seeing the comments online. Thank you all so much. I love that you all are connecting. Heidi has a joy that you are here for us, that we are here together this way. I share in that joy. Karen Gibbs Connor has a joy of spending time together as a family, coming to online church in our pajamas. Thank you. This is wonderful. Alicia Cook is thinking about Natasha's family and coworkers. She did wonderful work for people living with HIV and others and passed away at age 39 this weekend. That is a sorrow. We are here together, Heidi remarks. Lifting up Reverend Darcy with thanks for her diligent efforts to keep us connected. Thank you all for connecting here. Joy for the health. Irfan says, joy for the health and well-being of all within our community. Sorry for all those that are suffering in this time of trial. A sorrow indeed. Karen Gibb Connor has a sorrow that her 7-year-old is growing up way faster than she should have to. I'm going to light 2 more candles for those joys and sorrows. Thank you so very much for sharing them. Let us keep sharing and keep being together. And thank you to my neighbor for his phone at this time. All right, our next reading is from religious scholar Omid Safi. Our traditions are gems covered in centuries of junk. Yes, there are real jewels in each of our traditions, and they are all covered in filth and junk that is centuries old. In some ways, the jewels shine today as they have always shone. There is a light that's too bright to be put out. At the very same time, the filth of racism, tribalism, nationalism, colonialism, classism continues to cover the jewels. There is a jewel inside our own hearts. That jewel, the inner divine knowledge, also shines so bright. It too has to be purified from the filth of egoism, sexism, and greed. Let us wash these jewels, you and I. Let us rinse these jewels, you and I. Let us polish these jewels, you and I.